Hey guys, welcome back to CoinLedger. We're going to be taking a look at a gaming project within the Ronin ecosystem. Actually, they just entered the Ronin ecosystem. Now, this is a project that we have covered in the past some time ago, but they have consistently been building in the background, still working on their products. So we're going to be taking a look at what the project is today and why I'm bullish on them, and give you guys my opinion on it, on where I think this project could potentially be going by the end of the video. Give you guys some updates that they've been working on. But as always, before we get into the thick of the video, if you guys do get value out of the content here, if you want to stay in the loop of what we're putting out here every day for you guys, if you guys could subscribe and like the video, the support means a lot. So if we take a look at Ronin here, why are we bullish on the Ronin ecosystem? Well, obviously Ronin is the blockchain and kind of the team behind one of the, it was literally the biggest gaming project of the last cycle for crypto gaming, which was Axie Infinity. Now, they did go ahead and obviously make the Ronin chain, which we've covered Ronin, talked about it so many times now. If you guys are in the crypto space or the gaming sector, which I assume you maybe know a little bit about, if you're watching this video, you guys are well aware of what Ronin is. But if we take a look at Ronin, as more of a infrastructure play in the gaming sector, when we last saw gaming run, which was about quarter one, beginning of quarter two 2024, Ronin actually put in an all-time high for its market cap. So it actually did cross over that $1 billion range, and it kind of hung around the 500-600 million. And then even right now, recently, when we saw gaming last get a little bit of hint of life in December here, we saw Ronin creeping back up to those $1 billion levels, and now it is sitting back at about $1. Now, this is one that we talked about throughout the bear market here. So if you guys were able to get in on early on Ronin, then let us know in the comments below. So that's the thesis on Ronin. Now, the project that I do want to talk about is Legends of Elumia. Now, obviously, we know that Legends of Elumia, right now, they are on Solana. They have been on Solana pretty much for the whole lifetime of their project. But, when they actually put out this tweet here about a little over a week ago now at this point, at the end of January 2025, they actually did announce that they were actually bringing Elumia, Legends of Elumia, their project, the full 3D PC and mobile Web3 MMORPG, to Ronin, the king of gaming chains. Now, I do think Ronin is one of the leaders in the gaming space as far as a gaming chain, gaming ecosystem. It's right up there with something like a Beam if we're looking at similar market caps here. But, Ronin definitely has the player base on their ecosystem. Then they go into a little bit more about this thread here, which we'll take a look at. But now we'll come back to the price action of where Elumia is, where it has been, where it potentially could be going. But if we take a look at the project here, first thing they updated on their website was obviously this whole Ronin integration being on Ronin now. If you guys are not familiar with what Legends of Elumia is, we'll look at some gameplay here in a little bit. But essentially, it is a MMORPG. Now, if that doesn't mean anything to you, it is just an open, vast world where you can get on there, get onto their game, team up with other players, do dungeon crawls. You can go through different dungeons, defeat, different types of enemies. Usually there's a boss fight at the end of that run, and then you can obviously grind the boss fight and get, in-game currency and do upgrades, buy pets, items, stuff like that. So it's kind of like that similar style game. If you guys caught one of the recent videos here recently, we covered Domi Online, which is in the same genre, except obviously they are in the Avalanche ecosystem. So when we talk about Domi, we typically will reference these two together because they're similar projects, just in different ecosystems as well. So that's the different gameplay of it. Here's a little bit of gameplay, but we'll look a little bit more into what they have done recently here in a little bit. But that is essentially what it is. Now, to me, even when we cover this project, years, about a year, maybe a year and a half ago now at this point, at 2023 here, the project has came a long way. Now, we've been saying this is what you want to look for in gaming projects. You want to look for a team essentially in any narrative, but when you're following this rule, look for a team that is working constantly, that is working through the bear market, working through the terrible price action, the chop. Don't just look for projects that are running when the narrative is hot or comes out when the narrative is hot. Again, when we look at Legends of Elumia here, now its max chart doesn't look the best. Obviously, we'll get into that in a little bit, but they did come out, at the end of the last cycle, so April of 2022. Obviously, we entered a bear market here, and then we saw gaming run. We saw this react pretty well, so a little bit more on that here in a little bit. So that is what the project is. Now, obviously, we've made other videos on Legends of Elumia, so if you want to go back and watch those videos, they are on the channel if you want to compare where this project has came from as well. Now, when we take a look at, the project, we can see that one, this is the gameplay just put out here by this person on Twitter. I'm going to mispronounce that name. Owlax NFT potentially, but this is them doing a dungeon boss. This is literally today at the time recording this video on Ronin, saying that gameplay on Ronin is going to be good. It's going to take off here. So this is them doing a boss fight. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Now this is Twitter. Obviously this is going to completely downgrade the video quality, so it's not on the game. It's just Twitter is terrible for videos. You guys know this, but essentially, to me, the game actually has came quite a ways. Again, this is a game that you could actually get into and play back at the end of 2023. Now, back then, a lot of flack about this project at that time by the community was that you needed one of their NFT heroes, which wasn't much at the time. It was like maybe 80 to 100 bucks, depending on when you were trying to get in to actually play the game. Now, people actually did not like that, and I think potentially hindered the project at that time. Now I think they have gone away with that, but it also made sense as almost like an early access way, since the game wasn't in full release, and it still isn't in my opinion, at least from what I've kept up with. I think they're still obviously working on the game, but so that's the game here. It does look very solid. Again, they have integrated stuff like pets, more items. You can also play on your mobile device or your computer, so if it's easier to play on the go, then this is how you can do it. And again, all you have to do now is just connect your Ronin wallet, and you can whitelist now to get into your spot to actually play the game. So again, it's not in full release. They are still working on it. Now, a couple things with the project as well. When we look at their backers here, obviously probably their biggest backer is Animoca Brands, which they are still one of the biggest VCs, if not the biggest VC in crypto gaming. So the fact they have that backing by Animoca Brands is important. Now, they do have a couple other big, VCs as well, with stuff like H&8, Crypto.com, G3, Gate.io, just to name a couple. Zentree, we see a few, quality gaming projects in the space backing them, and they do have quotes here from, the co-founder of Animoca Brands, bullish on the project. They also do have some of their team here on their LinkedIns, their little bios here, so they are a docs team if you go through their LinkedIn pages as well. But when we look at the product and how many updates they put out, again, this is the same thing as essentially Domi Online as far as the frequency, for how much they actually do put out on the product here. So they are constantly working on it. They're constantly tweeting, which again, I sound like a broken record, but that is important for a project to actually keep up with their community, let people know that they're not dead. I do like this tweet here again, because they've been on Solana only up until now. They say Solana gamers, Ronin gamers, with the whole handshake, or whatever that's called, grabbing, combining forces there a little bit. So both hot ecosystems in my opinion. Now, if you're bullish on Ronin, the thing about Ronin games is that there's not that many quality ones when you compare it to other ecosystems like Solana, like Avalanche, because Ronin for the longest time, obviously they don't let just anyone build on Ronin, whereas these other chains, anyone can literally launch and build on there. And not all the gaming projects on Ronin have tokens behind them. We see, more people like Yellow Panther here, another KOL in the space, quite a big one, shouting out, Legends of Elumia as well. So this is a big move for them to come over to Ronin. So that is important. And again, just more and more updates. Again, here it is playing it on your phone. So mobile gaming touching into that side. You guys know that I'm bullish on mobile gaming as well, making more partnerships. The point is, they do the right thing in my opinion. They are constantly building, constantly updating. Now, if we look back at the token here, now again, I told you guys this alt chart looked terrible, but one thing you have to realize, especially with gaming projects, of the last cycle, even more so than what we've seen recently in gaming, we were so used to gaming projects back then launching with such terrible dilution, which is what made the chart look like this. Now, again, when we look at the all-time high here, it was literally, if I can just scroll down and take a look at it, it was 15 cents. Now, because of dilution, could it ever get back to that all-time high? It's not outrageous. It could definitely happen, but I wouldn't necessarily count on it. It's going to be quite hard to do, but this is literally because of dilution. Now, the benefit is that this token has been out for years now. I mean, literally like 3 years now at this point. So a lot of that dilution is gone. Actually, this project is going to be, I believe, fully diluted by the end of 2025. So there actually will not be any more unlocks. Again, we see that they're literally just going through team and treasury now at this point. So all the early investors are out. They're vested, public sale, seed sale, advisors, marketing, all that is done. It's just literally team and treasury. So that is the advantage when you find a project like Elumia that has been out for such a long time. Now this is their governance, their main token. They do have their EKS that was part of their ecosystem as well. That's more of their in-game currency token. So when we look across the two, now that's not one that I would be buying personally. If we look up EKS here, this it's not going to show it here, but it's like this Lumina shards. That's not the one that I would be getting into. I don't know if that still serves a utility, but when you're potentially looking at getting into the project, again, not financial advice, not telling you guys that it's a buy or anything, just giving you guys my opinion. Elumia is definitely the one you want to be looking at for sure. So the main thing though, when we take a look at when gaming last ran, which was, you know, initially for this cycle, Q4 2023, Elumia actually responded extremely well. So here we are right here. And the funny thing is that the all-time low for this project isn't even that far from here. I mean, we're 60% up from the all-time lows, which is 0.0023, and we're at 0.003 right now. So we're essentially at the all-time low right now. Now it hasn't quite hit there, since the bear market, but actually right here. And then from that all-time low, I mean, it literally went from 0.0023 all the way up in a matter of like 30 days, if that, to 0.036. So that's, about a 15 to 20x somewhere around there, because again, Solana was getting hot as an ecosystem at that time. We were seeing gaming also run, so it was a good success, and they had a working product, and the game did look very solid. They just had that paywall behind their NFT, their hero NFTs as well, but it did react well, with gaming, and it stayed around, while we saw gaming run February, March, and then when gaming kind of, went off to the back burner, the project followed suit. And then obviously you guys know the spiel by now. Summer was not gaming friendly, but as well in December, when we saw gaming get that little bit of life here, what did Ronin do? Or sorry, what did Legends of Elumia do? It reacted. So it reacted well, getting almost back to a penny here. And then obviously it went back down. But what's weird is that a lot of gaming projects are down heavily on the 1 month. I mean, we still have gaming projects. A lot of them are consolidating right now. It seems like, the current market conditions, but a lot of them are down, 60, 50, some of them even 70% now at this point. Major, mid, small caps, all of them are super down. Whereas Legends of Elumia, granted, it is a micro cap, so it's, essentially at the bottom. It doesn't have much more to fall from here. But it is actually up 14% for the 1 month. It's up 13% on the the 2 weeks here, and it's about steady on the 7 days. So not that that's a huge milestone, but it actually isn't down for the 1 month compared to a lot of gaming projects. But again, with the current market cap, I do think that this potentially is at the bottom for Elumia here. And when we look back, it got up to about a $15 million market cap. And then it just hung around 2 to 3 million throughout the summer, and then got back up to, if we look over the 3 month here, when we saw gaming get a little hint of life after the elections in December 2024. Granted, the market was heating up overall before the recent events here. It was closing in on that 4.5 to $5 million market cap, and now we are sub 2 million. So the whole point of this project, again, when we look at it, we want to highlight and look at teams that are building, that are on hot chains, essentially meaning that there's going to be players, liquidity, attention on the chains that they're building on. So, I'm personally bullish on Solana, and for gaming especially, I think the Ronin ecosystem still have the player base. I think a lot of people are going to be flocking to Ronin, especially when we see a full-on gaming season run again, because I do believe that gaming will run at some point in 2025. Again, I can't tell you guys exactly when that is, but I still have full conviction that we will see gaming be a hot narrative this cycle. That has not wavered at all, in my opinion. But again, the point is that this team is definitely building, and making that move to bringing the project to Ronin, I do think was a step in the right direction, because again, when we look at projects on Ronin, their quality, it's a harder ecosystem to actually get on and build on compared to something like Solana or Avalanche. And we look at gaming specifically, I think Ronin is definitely an ecosystem that a lot of people in the gaming space pay attention to because of what they did last cycle with Axie Infinity as well. So that is Legends of Elumia. Again, this is a project that is building and at such a low market cap, and essentially they're going to be fully vested out by October this year, I believe. So when we look at dilution, it is not a problem in my opinion. Obviously there's still a little bit, but they do monthly unlocks, I believe, on the 25th of every month here. But again, it's not that much of a concern, especially when we look at other gaming projects. But do realize that it is super, high risk because of such a low market cap and the kind of game it is. It is a little niche compared to something like a like a shooter or something else that really we see a lot of in the space, like Off the Grid, Shrapnel, some other ones. But I do think for the MMORPG kind of niche game, I do like Legends of Elumia and Domi Online, obviously, but one's in Avalanche and one's in Solana and Ronin. So for different ecosystems, if you're bullish on, if you want that kind of pick, you have the two options there. But now looking at Legends of Elumia, the fact that it reacted well every time you've seen gaming run this cycle, it shows that the project, one, obviously isn't dead with the updates that they're making and going over to Ronin, but they react well with gaming as well. So that's what you also want to pay attention to, and the dilution is a plus here for sure. Now we're seeing Ronin obviously down with the majority of the market, especially the gaming market alone. This is what I'm talking about. Ronin themselves is down 43% on the 1 month. So just because you hold a high cap doesn't necessarily mean that you're safe from these dips. Now, obviously, something like Legends of Elumia, I'm not saying that it's safer than Ronin. I'm just letting you guys realize that it's not just, price action wise, Legends of Elumia. We're seeing all of gaming and the majority of the market kind of go downwards here recently. 2025, off to a great start. Not really, but either way, let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think of Legends of Elumia? Hopefully, you guys understand the thesis here with the game, with the project, and even if Legends of Elumia isn't for you, you can apply the logic here to other potential projects, whether in the gaming sector or other narratives. You can use that kind of thesis to find other projects as well. And as always, guys, if you guys got value out of today's video, if you guys could like the video, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, see you guys.